Right, so it's my 30th birthday. Big milestone, allegedly. Society tells you it's supposed to be this transformational moment where you suddenly get your life together, understand mortgage rates, and start voluntarily buying broccoli. Spoiler alert, I still cry at phone contracts and don't own the garlic crusher. But sure 30, love that for me. So there I am, perched at this very middle-class dinner table that smells suspiciously of Tesco's finest and panic, surrounded by people who claim to love me but have definitely talked about me in group chats I'm not in. I'm emotionally frayed, dressed like someone trying to look like they have a pension, and pretending that I haven't spent the whole day spiraling about aging, mortality, and whether or not I peaked at 17. There's overpriced wine flowing like the NHS, budget insufficiently, and a happy birthday banner that's already drooping, like everyone's expectations of my career. My parents are doing that passive-aggressive thing where they're nice to me, just enough to look like decent people, but not so much that it might be mistaken for actual affection. And then, like some sort of plot twist in a particularly bleak episode of EastEnders, my granddad stands up. Now, let me be clear, my grandfather is a national treasure in the same way black pudding is technically iconic, slightly weird, and best taken in small doses. He's old school, the type of man who thinks showing emotion is something you do in the shed, in private, with the door shut and a whiskey. Anyway, he stands up, clears his throat with the dramatic flair of someone who survived 2 wives, a hip replacement, and the death of modesty, and hands me this tiny velvet box. Very wedding proposal vibes, except less romance, more ancestral trauma. He says dead serious, totally unbothered, happy birthday, love. This belonged to your gran. Now, everyone at the table gasps in unison like we're in a badly scripted ITV drama. Even my mom, who normally only emotes during Strictly Come Dancing finales, goes a bit glassy-eyed. I, meanwhile, am holding this box like it might explode and reveal a family secretora. Tesco club card. Who's to say? I open it, obviously, because I'm not a monster. And there it is, a ring, old, delicate, definitely haunted. The kind of jewelry that has seen some SHT asterisk. Probably cursed. Almost certainly witnessed at least one Victorian scandal. It sparkles in the light like it knows something I don't. Which, to be fair, everything does at this point. Cue the ahs. Cue the tears. Cue the uncomfortable hand squeezes from relatives I only see at funerals and arguments about the will. And me, I'm sitting there, wearing my finest. I'm emotionally stable and totally not about to have a breakdown in the Lou expression, holding this ring and wondering if this is adulthood. Getting handed dead people's jewelry while pretending your parents aren't quietly judging your entire life. And just as I think this is it, this is the moment I make peace with turning 30. Granddad leans in and says 7 little words that change the entire night. Is the car still running smoothly then? And that, dear viewer, is when everything fell apart faster than a B&M patio set in a windstorm. So there I am, still clutching this Victorian ghost ring like it's a Horcrux, smiling like someone who hasn't emotionally shut down in a public setting this week. When Granddad leans in across the table past the potatoes, past the socially strained silence, and drops it, deadpan, straight-faced, casual, like he's asking if I've still got that jumper he bought me for year 9 pay. Is the car still running smoothly then? I pause, my brain doesn't. My brain is doing backflips, trying to locate the folder marked car in my mental filing cabinet, which, by the way, is on fire, staffed by raccoons, and currently playing the EastEnders theme tune on loop. I blink. I sip wine. I do that polite middle-class thing where instead of screaming, I quietly short-circuit and hope no one notices. Internally, I'm asking, what car, Granddad? Which imaginary vehicle are we referring to today? The Vauxhall Astra in my dreams? The Uber I can't afford? The concept of having my life together? Externally, I managed to croak. What car? Just like that, soft, confused, a bit haunted, like a child who's just been told. They used to own a pony, but it's been sent to a lovely farm in Kent. And that, my friends, is when I noticed the shift. Because up until this point, my birthday dinner had been tense in that no one mention Brexit or Aunt Linda will launch into a monologue about the price of cheese, sort of way. But now we've hit something deeper, something with texture. You could slice the atmosphere and serve it at a Weatherspoon's carvery. Granddad doesn't answer me. Oh no, he turns slowly, like an old man in a BBC drama who's just uncovered a family betrayal and looks directly at my parents. And I mean looks. The kind of look that bypasses politeness entirely and goes straight into I've just realized you're full of absolute bollocks. My mom, bless her, suddenly looks like she's been slapped in the face with a frozen fish. Dad goes pale in a way that suggests he's rapidly scanning his memory for what lies he's told and to whom. It's giving courtroom energy. It's giving you may now present your lies to the judge. And me, I'm just sitting there at my own birthday dinner with a ring on my finger and the creeping realization that something major's just come unstuck. Like a family secret's about to stagger into the room, wearing nothing but a towel and last night's regret. I look at my parents. They look at Granddad. Granddad looks like he's waiting for an explanation. And suddenly, I'm the only one not in on the joke, and the joke, as it turns out, is me. Because clearly, there is a car. Or was a car. A car that should have been mine. A car that has existed in this universe without my knowledge. While I've been out here raw dogging public transport like some kind of Dickensian peasant. Honestly, at this point, I start scanning the table for clues. Is someone going to tell me there's a yacht too? A trust fund? A secret sibling in reading? No, just this mysterious, non-existent car that definitely never sat on my drive because I've never had a drive. I live in a second-floor flat and share a bin with 3 other people and a fox. But apparently, once upon a time, there was a car. And this haunted birthday dinner where the chicken's gone cold and my mother's gone catatonic is where I learn about it. So yeah, is the car still running smoothly? Mate, nothing is running smoothly. Not the car, not my brain, not my family dynamic, and certainly not this dinner. But cheers, Granddad. You've officially upgraded my existential crisis to a full-blown soap opera plot. So there I am, still mentally buffering over this whole phantom car situation, when Granddad turns to my parents, slowly, deliberately, like he's about to drop a truth bomb and then retire to the conservatory to sip tea and watch the fallout like a pensioner Bond villain. My mom's smile vanishes faster than a tin of roses at a staff meeting. Dad looks like he's just remembered he left the oven on, and me. I'm just sitting there with the haunted heirloom ring of doom, thinking this is either about to turn into a BBC drama or a very tense episode of Who Do You Think You Are? Now Granddad doesn't say anything straight away. He just looks. That slow, deliberate look only people over 70 can pull off without blinking or dying mid-glare. A look that says I survived the blitz and I'm not afraid to start chaos over chicken pie. Mom visibly shifts in her seat, which, in our family, is basically a full-blown emotional meltdown. She opens her mouth like she's about to speak, and then closes it again like Microsoft Word when it crashes. Honestly, I've seen sturdier performances in Year 6 nativity plays. And then Dad, bless his fragile little ego, tries to laugh. Tries to brush it off with a weak chuckle and a casual, "Oh, Dad, you've had too much wine." Classic British tactic. Deny everything and hope the awkwardness dies of natural causes. But Granddad doesn't laugh. No, he leans back in his chair, crosses his arms like he's about to read someone to filth, and says very calmly, very clearly, "You told me you gave it to her. Don't tell me you didn't." Reader, time stops. Like, I swear the dog stopped chewing his toy. The clock froze. Even the radiators stopped making that weird, bubbling noise like they'd heard. The tension and gone. Yeah, nah, we're out. It's giving EastEnders Christmas special. Someone's non has just walked in holding a DNA test. I look at Mum. Mum looks at Dad. Dad looks at the table like it might offer him a trapdoor out of this conversation and straight into the void. Now, for context, my family's default emotional setting is avoidance. If the house caught fire during Christmas dinner, my mother would still insist we finish the trifle before mentioning it. So this scene is uncharted territory. And that's when I realize, whatever this is, it's not small. This isn't forgot your birthday level. This is capital S secret. This is plot shifting, foundation rattling. Call your therapist immediately levels of secret. And still, no one's saying a word. Like we're all waiting for someone else to take the first blow. Like we've suddenly found ourselves in a game of emotional chicken, except we're British. So instead of crashing into each other, we just politely implode. And I just keep thinking, why is no one denying it? No one's saying, what car? No one's laughing it off or saying, Granddad's confused or drunk or slowly descending into dementia, like they did that time he claimed Meghan Markle was at Little. No silence, the really loud kind, the kind that makes you think, I should not be here for this, but also, I'm absolutely not leaving. Like watching a couple argue in Sainsbury's self-checkout, and still no car in sight. No explanation. No a yes, the Toyota we named after your non. Here's the logbook, sorry for the admin mix-up. Just this giant, emotional elephant revving its metaphorical engine in the middle of my bloody birthday dinner. So I sit there, staring at two people who raised me lead to me, forgot about me, sold a car meant for me and bought a conservatory. Who knows? And all I can think is, great, I turned 30 and accidentally walked into a deleted scene from Succession, set in Swindon. And Granddad, oh, he's just sipping his wine now. Like his job here is done. Now let's just establish the baseline here. I am skint. Not I can't afford a new iPhone skint. Not we're doing Bali next year, babe skint. I mean broke, perpetually, chronically, spiritually broke. I still flinch when contactless works. I cry in Tesco when Cathedral City's on offer. I once hand-washed socks in a kettle because the laundrette ate my last. £4, so believe me when I say, if I'd had a car, I'd have known. I wouldn't just have known, I'd have renamed it, loved it, probably married it. I'd be one of those weirdos polishing the dashboard while whispering, you're the only thing that's never left me. So imagine my face when Granddad's stone cold sober. Might I add tilts his head and goes, did they never give you the car I bought you when you turned 18? Sorry, what now? I actually laugh, like an actual, full-body laugh. A laugh that comes from the soul, the bit that's given up. You know when someone tells you something so insane, the only appropriate reaction is to assume they have gone insane. Yeah, that laugh. The laugh of someone moments away from a psychotic break. I glance at my mom, who is now staring into her glass of Echo Falls, like it might contain the meaning of life. Dad's chewing his fork. And Granddad, oh, he's just sitting there, calm as anything. Like he didn't just casually announce that. I'm the unwitting owner of a mystery vehicle. Like some tragic contestant on Surprise Surprise, the gaslighting edition. I go, I think you mean one of the cousins, Granddad. I've never had a car. Still smiling. Still trying to be reasonable, British. Because surely he's confused, right? He's old. Maybe he dreamt it. Maybe it was a different birthday. A different grandchild. Maybe he's thinking of someone from Emmerdale. But then he frowns, properly, the kind of frown that comes with receipts. No, I gave your parents the money. 12 grand, actually. Told them to get you something reliable. You'd just finished college. I swear, time didn't just freeze. It reversed. 12,000 pounds. 12. I didn't even know we had 12,000 pounds in the family economy. I thought we peaked at 30 pounds Argos voucher and a hot water bottle. And now I'm sitting here at 30 learning. I was supposed to get a car 12 bloody years ago. Meanwhile, I've been out here hoofing it to bus stops in the rain, praying the next train isn't canceled due to adverse weather conditions. Red drizzle. Like this whole time, I thought I just drew the short straw in the universe's car lottery. I assumed not having a vehicle was just part of my tragic little character arc. But no. Apparently, I've just been casually defrauded by my own parents. And listen, I know theft is a strong word, but if I give you 12,000 pounds to buy someone a car, and 12 years later that someone is still hitchhiking to Aldi while you've mysteriously had to holidays to Portugal and a new conservatory, I'm calling it. That's not a mix-up. That's white-collar crime with a side of roast potatoes. At this point, I'm silent, fully frozen. Like that one time I found my exes. Tinder still installed under the name Liam, but funnier. I want to scream. I want to cry. I want to ask my parents what the actual hell they did with the money. But I can't because I'm British. And we don't confront, we fester. So instead, I sit there with a frozen smile and a piece of soggy Yorkshire pudding in my mouth, while my entire childhood collapses like a wet trampoline. And Granddad, still sipping his wine, still looking confused. Bless him. I just thought it was odd you never mentioned it. Yeah, because it does feel a bit odd, doesn't it, Granddad? Just a touch. You know that sound people make when they've been caught out in a lie, but are still trying to pretend they haven't. Sort of a mix between a gasp, a sigh, and a tiny internal scream escaping through the nostrils. Yeah, that. My mom lets out that noise. The kind of noise you usually only hear in crime documentaries. When the detective finally confronts the murderer, and they realize the game is up, but they're still hoping they can charm their way out of prison with a tray of homemade shortbread. Right, so here's the tea, or rather, the piping hot betrayal stew we're all slurping down in lieu of birthday pudding. Turns out, wait for it, when I was 18, my lovely cardigan wearing, we raised you with values. Parents were handed the keys to a brand new car. A car bought by Granddad. For me, his first grandchild. The golden one. The chosen one. The one with a provisional license and delusions of freedom. It was supposed to be a surprise. You know, one of those congratulations, love. You made it through DCSS without becoming a local menace. Here's a fiesta. Type surprises. Something wholesome, sweet, life-changing. But alas, the surprise was mine. Because surprise, they sold it. Didn't even mention it. Just quietly flogged it. Like a DODGY toaster on Gumtree. And apparently, they told Granddad I was over the moon about it. According to Mom, I absolutely loved it. Which is impressive. Really, to adore something so passionately without ever physically seeing, driving, or being made aware of its existence. I'm practically a spiritual car owner, a motoring clairvoyant, a top gear medium. And why, you ask, did they offload a brand new vehicle behind my back? Yes, that old chestnut. We invested it in your future, which, loosely translated from parental gaslighting, means we spent it and hoped you'd never ask. And let's be honest, invested in your future is just middle-class code for we needed the money and convinced ourselves it was noble. Apparently, it went toward my university expenses, which is rich, considering I'm currently paying off my student loan like it's a mortgage on regret. Honestly, I'm convinced that debt's in my will. They'll be garnishing my funeral flowers to cover interest. And to clarify, when they say university expenses, what they actually mean is the rent they made me pay while living at home during freshers, and a cheeky new kitchen blender. Because God forbid I go to Leeds with a Ford Fiesta, when they could use that cash to puree soup for 4 bloody years. At this point, Granddad's sitting there, bless him, looking like he's just been told the queen was fake this whole time. Eyes wide, mouth slightly open. The horror of mild financial treason dawning in real time. And Mum, she's giving it the classic British guilt shrug. The one that says, yes, we technically stole, but we did it with good intentions. So it's morally fine, actually. You know what else was morally fine in our house? Pretending pasta was a balanced meal because we added frozen peas. But sure, sell my car. Save me from myself. All part of your parenting journey, apparently. So there I am, 30 years old, completely carless, emotionally congested, and just now learning that while I thought I was a broke student hustling through uni on instant noodles and shame, I was, in fact, a car owner the whole time. Somewhere out there, my ghost Fiesta was living its best life without me. Probably got scrapped and reborn as a mobility scooter in Hull. And the kicker, Mom said, with a straight face, we did what we thought was best for you. Oh, did you? Linda was embezzling my gift and lying for 12 years. Truly the pinnacle of your maternal instincts. I'm not angry. I'm just profoundly in awe of the audacity. So now we've entered the part of the evening where reality becomes a choose-your-own-adventure. And I am the only one reading the correct book. Mom, bless her twisted sense of revisionist history, starts swearing blind they told me about the car. Told me, like it was some casual side note wedged between teas on the table. And don't forget Binday's move to Thursday. I'm sat there gripping my wine like it's the last bee on the Titanic, trying to remember any moment in my life where someone said, by the way, love, your grandfather bought you a car and we sold it. Hope that's chill. Spoiler, they did not. Because, and let me say this loud enough for the people gaslighting me from the other end of the table, you do not just forget being given a car. It's not like misplacing a Tesco Club card or forgetting you've got courgettes rotting in the fridge. It's a car, an actual vehicle with wheels and petrol and possibilities. But apparently, I just forgot. Yes, the classic you forgot move, straight out of the parental playbook. Right between you'll understand when you're older. And we never said that they did. Meanwhile, Dad, good ol', emotionally constipated Dave, decides his hill to die on is the idea that I said they could sell it. Like I was casually strolling past, mid-level breakdown, and went, hey, why don't you take that car? Granddad bought me and converted into middle-aged blender money. Cheers, legends. Mate, I once cried because someone ate my leftover garlic bread. Do I strike you as the type who'd let go of a free car out of the goodness of my non-existent maturity? No, I do not. At this point, it's basically an episode of Family Fortunes, but every answer is a different version of gaslighting. And no one's winning the jackpot. Just years of unprocessed resentment wrapped in politeness and pavlova. And there I am mentally circling back to all the times I walked home in horizontal rain, battling wines like I was in a North Face advert but with Primark gloves and a Greg's paper bag for protection. Like some Victorian ghost child trudging uphill in sleet, clutching my bus fare in one hand and my dignity in the other while, apparently, somewhere in another universe, I owned a bloody car. I'm sorry. But unless I was blackout drunk for the entire year of 2009, which, okay, is not entirely off the table, there is no world in which I forgot something that monumental. This isn't, oh, I forgot to reply to that email. This is you gave away a major life asset and pretended I knew. But no. To them, I'm the forgetful one, the flaky and grateful child with selective amnesia and a poor attitude. Honestly, if gaslighting were an Olympic sport, my parents would have medaled. Silver for the lie, gold for the smug delivery. And through it all, I'm trying to maintain this very British sense of appropriate dinner table tension. You know? Just casually sipping wine, swallowing generational betrayal like it's undercooked chicken, and offering up passive-aggressive smiles that say, "Everything's fine, Sharon. I'm just internally combusting." Because if I cry now, none will definitely ask if I'm hormonal. And frankly, I'd rather eat my own foot. Right, so let's talk about the ring. You know, the one Grandpa handed me all misty-eyed. Like I was Frodo Baggins being given the burden of Middle-earth, except instead of a volcano. I've just got emotional trauma and a buffet table. Yeah, that one. Now when I first saw it, I thought, wow, stunning. Art Deco meets subtle funeral energy. Proper haunted but glamorous. Vibes like if Miss Havisham had a Pinterest board. It had that weird heaviness too, you know? That weight old jewelry has that whispers, secrets live here. And I thought it was just a sweet little heirloom moment. Bit sentimental, bit sparkly. Maybe someone died in it, whatever. It's pretty. I didn't question it. But now, oh now, with the full chaotic family PowerPoint presentation unraveling itself across the dining room, like a particularly juicy episode of EastEnders, the true meaning becomes painfully, hilariously obvious. This wasn't just a keepsake. This was a weapon, a statement piece in every possible sense. Grandpa wasn't being sweet. Grandpa was doing revenge. This was his "your parents are full of shite and I'm over it" parting gift. Wrapped in velvet, hand-delivered with a cheeky glint in the eye that now reads, in retrospect, like, let's see the buggers try and flog this one. And honestly, iconic. Absolutely iconic. Petty in the most dignified, old-school, Churchill-smoking a cigar way. He didn't shout. He didn't call them out. He didn't cause a scene. He handed me a ring. A centuries old, probably cursed, definitely loaded with symbolism ring. And in doing so, he said without saying, "Darling, your parents sold your car behind your back, lied about it for years, and now they're trying to gaslight you into believing it never happened. So here's something they can't touch, something they can't sell on Facebook Marketplace, while calling it a necessary sacrifice. Take this. Hide it well. Maybe one day pawn it for rent." And I love him for it. It's the kind of passive-aggressive pettiness only British grandparents have perfected. Like when they say, "Oh, I didn't realize you liked your hair that way, but in gold." It's the psychological equivalent of a well-timed hum. And of course, as soon as I clock what's actually happening, I glance over at Mom, who has also just realized, because her eyes lock on that ring like it's the cursed treasure in The Mummy. And I'm about to unleash 1,000 years of family resentment with a single raised hand. She's clocking the subtext. She knows Grandpa knows. And I know she knows that I now know that she knows that I know. It's a chain reaction of shame, held together by halloumi skewers and birthday bunting. And look, maybe it's dramatic. Maybe it's silly. But in that moment, holding that ring, that tiny, elegant act of familial rebellion, I felt seen. Like Grandpa had pulled me aside and whispered, "You're not mad. They really did shaft you. It's not closure. God, no. This is Britain. We don't do closure. We do jewelry and tension." But still, for 1 second, one sparkly, silently damning second, I didn't feel crazy. And that, my friends, is what we call character development. Inherited, 18 carat, and just passive-aggressive enough to match my personality. No tears, no screaming, no dramatic storm out with a shattered wine glass and someone shouting, "How could you?" like we're in ITV drama. Nope, I just went full British, emotionally repressed, visibly unbothered, spiritually on fire. I sat there, surrounded by the very people who cheerfully gaslit me out of a whole bloody car. And I smiled. The kind of smile that says, everything is fine. I hope your toilet clogs tonight. My mom was still doing that tight panic thing where she laughs like someone strangling a wind-up toy. Dad was trying to summon a sense of normalcy by offering people more quiche. Grandpa looked like he'd just detonated a truth bomb and was quietly sipping his tea like. I said what I said. And me? Well, I cut myself a polite little slice of cake, Victoria sponge. Ironically, boxed up the rest like I was packing up my last ounce of trust. Said thank you with the same tone you use when a waiter brings you the wrong order, but you're too emotionally damaged to send it back, and left. With the ring, obviously. I'm not daft. Did I cry? No, I didn't have to cry. My ancestors have trained me through generations of unresolved tension and uncomfortable Sunday roasts to simply internalize everything and then die of a polite ulcer at 65. I didn't cry. I just got very organized about leaving. Like, unsettlingly efficient. You know that scene in a film where the protagonist goes full cold and collected, and you know they've just snapped? That was me. Except instead of a gun, I had cling film. And instead of revenge, I had a Tesco bag and cake with everyone's names written on it in icing. Like a sugary memorial to a relationship that died at the dinner table. And just when I think the day couldn't get more tragically British, I get a text later that night from Mom. Don't let one misunderstanding ruin your birthday, love. Oh, one misunderstanding? Is that what we're calling it now? Not we stole your car and lied to your face for nearly 2 decades, but a misunderstanding. Like I accidentally wore shoes to a nice shoes house. Like I confused still water with sparkling. Sweetheart, it wasn't a misunderstanding. It was 18 years of strategic deceit, polished with passive aggression and served with party hats. It was theft, in a Honda Civic-shaped lie, wrapped in family guilt and a Tesco balloon arch. But sure, let's just misunderstand our way out of this one, shall we? Honestly, I don't even have the energy to be properly angry. I just sort of simmer now, like a kettle that's always slightly on. I'm the human version of leaving your chips in the oven for too long and pretending the black bits add flavor. Because here's the thing, it's not even about the car anymore. It's about what it costs to find out the truth and how quickly people will pretend. Your pain is a bit much if it makes their tea taste bitter. But I didn't cry. I went home, took off my shoes, put the ring somewhere safe, and sat very still in the quiet, eating my slice of betrayal cake with a fork I didn't remember owning. Because if I've learned anything this birthday, it's this. Family is like jelly at a kid's party. Wobbly, overly sweet. And someone's always pretending it's fine when it's very obviously not. So, happy 30th to me. 3 decades of character development, mild trauma, and pretending I like Prosecco, culminating in a birthday party where the biggest gift was realizing my entire life could have had air conditioning, but instead I've been sweating on public transport like a bin man in August. Not that I'm bitter. No, I'm very mature now. 30, flirty, and robbed blind by my own parents. Got a lovely ring though. Symbolic, really. A little gold band of generational guilt. Thanks, Granddad. We don't say it out loud, obviously, we're British, but I see you. That was the most passive-aggressive heirloom handover in family history. And honestly, iconic. Antiques Roadshow would weep. I mean, a car. A car. I could have had a car when I was 18. Instead, I had shin splints from walking to college in shoes, held together by hope and super drug plasters. They sold it, told Granddad I loved it, and apparently put the money toward my future, which is hilarious because my future turned out to be a £36,000 student loan, a mild caffeine addiction, and the same 6 pairs of knickers I've been rotating since uni. And to answer Granddad's final, cheery little question at the end of that night. So, is the car still running smoothly then? No, Granddad, it's not. It never was. It never got the chance. The only thing that's been running is me late, stressed, and on foot through rain, snow, and the sticky summer hellscape of the Central Line. All while a Honda Civic that was supposed to be mine was probably off joyriding through the suburbs or funding Mum's kitchen tiles. Honestly, I'm not even angry anymore. Just existentially tired. You ever feel so betrayed you sort of transcend it? Like the betrayal becomes ambient noise. You just fold the betrayal into your laundry like, ah yes, mom lied to me for years. Might pop too little later. I don't want revenge. I want closure. And maybe a decent car with aircon and working windows. But baby steps. I did Google the make and model of the car though, just for fun. And yeah, apparently it would have been worth about 5 grand back then. Now it's just emotional debris. A ghost of the life I could have had, haunting me every time I miss the bus. But it's fine. Really, fine. I boxed up the cake. I wore the ring. I smiled through it. Because that's what we do, isn't it? We don't scream. We don't throw drinks. We say thank you, collect our things, and go quietly into the night while texting our mates something like, "Tell me why my mom stole a car meant for me," and then had the audacity to serve quiche like we're all friends. So yeah, happy birthday to me. Here's to 30, to clarity, to cutting through the family bullshit asterisk T, and to never trusting someone who says they put the money toward your future, but still made you pay for your own dental work. Next year, I'm going to Greg's, alone, and no one is invited.